legal services, including family law, matrimonial law, immigration, dispute resolution, Ghanaian customary and family law. At BWF, our solicitors are pleased to offer high-quality legal representation at competitive rates. Our senior partner, Bernardo Wusu, has over 29 years' experience as a lawyer in the UK. BWF solicitors provide independent and practical legal assistance for all kinds of family matters, such as childcare, contested and uncontested divorce, and injunctions for domestic violence. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you in this difficult time, which is why we offer confidential advice delivered in a sensitive manner. Our senior partner is an accredited member of the Law Society Family Law Accreditation Panel, which guarantees expert representation in all family and matrimonial cases. Are you seeking advice on immigration-related matters? At BWF Solicitors, our immigration team are experts in dealing with everything from general immigration to complex immigration work permits, arranging student visas, as well as entry clearance visas, family visas, and appeals. Our senior partner is an accredited member of the Law Society Immigration Accreditation Panel, which guarantees expert representation. Our office is open from 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, and on Saturdays by appointment only from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We are located at 4th floor Anna House, 214 to 218 Tottenham High Road, London, N15 4NP, just a short walk from Seven Sisters Underground. Our senior partner, Bernardo Wusu, is also a qualified barrister and a member of the Ghana Bar Association. He has acted as an expert in court cases involving aspects of Ghanaian law. He has also advised local authorities, the official solicitor's office, and other solicitors on the intricacies of Ghanaian law, and is a regular contributor on the radio and TV on matters concerning Ghanaian law.
Hello. Good afternoon. You're welcome to Hanging Out with BWF Solicitors. May I first apologize for the late start of the show. We were experiencing some few technical challenges. But the good thing is that everything is on course, so please accept our apologies. Today, as usual, I have lawyer Eunice Achampon with me. And the topic for today is how to have direct access to your child when you and the other partner don't get on. I think this is a very common thing that happens all around us. Sometimes you don't get to see both parents getting on due to the circumstances that led to the separation. Today, Lawyer Eunice is going to talk about it and also answer questions on this topic and what steps both parents can take so that there will be peace. If you want to contribute to the program, you can do so on all our social media handles, Facebook, YouTube, transmitting live. You can also listen to us on BWF Radio on TuneIn. You can also call me live in the studio on 0744-8619-711. You can also send a WhatsApp. We'll be very glad to hear from you. Share this live broadcast. Laura Eunice, you're welcome to today's show.
Thank you so much.
International Women's Day. I think this week was our week, isn't it?
Yes, on Tuesday was International Women's Day, and I think that a lot of the time we look forward to the Mother's Day instead of the Women's Day because that's when there's more attention. But I think that we have to celebrate women from every tribe, from every
mm,
um, nation, and those that have really been at the background. You don't really hear of the women that actually do so much to bring their communities forward and to actually bring um, those that are young and those that are vulnerable and those that need the support
mm,
to the forefront. We always hear about the ones that the media always portray as those that are changing things within
yeah,
their settings. But I think that we have to celebrate every woman, and no matter their age, the size, um, every woman of every kind is doing something somewhere to actually support someone. I think that it is unique about you women that we nurture people. We don't just look to ourselves, but we like to put what we have into others so that we build a community. I
yeah,
hear that proverb that says that if you educate a man, you educate a one person, but if you
okay.
educate a woman, you educate a whole nation. So I guess that saying is very true of a woman who knows her essence or her worth. Yeah.
Mm, mm. I think what I will add to that is I think for some time now I'm seeing more women encouraging other women as well.
Mm,
You know,
mm,
yes, yeah, yeah. I've been saying that in the past it wasn't so. It was like, you are on your own. Um, you only want to be the one, going up there
yeah.
career wise. But I've realized a lot of women. There's women empowerment movement going on there, so and I
Mm,
like that. We would like
yeah.
to see more of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I always say to people that I actually love it when women are encouraging each other, and I'm not just getting feedback from men, but I'm
yeah.
also getting it from women as well. Then okay, we are actually doing something, because if you look at our population, the women are more than the men.
More.
So the
Mm,
women are actually doing a lot more. So I think that when we empower one another, we move each other forward. And I think it's very, very important that we actually encourage each other, we build each other up, and we support each other, whether it's career wise or through motherhood, because my mom is always helping me with my kids. Um,
mm,
in every aspect, it's important that we get that support from each other.
mm,
It
mm,
helps. It really does help.
mm, mm. Right. So, any updates for us for the week?
Okay, so in terms of updates, I know and I understand, of course, that the battle in Ukraine is actually very full on, and we saw this week how even a maternity hospital was bombed in some way.
Um,
And I think that we all understand right now what is going on. I think, regardless of how the Russian media try and put it, they don't want us to mention that it's a war, but it is a war. And um, of course, the rest of the world also wants to see that we are doing something to help. Um, the West, in one way or the other, doesn't want to get into war with Russia, and therefore has put economic sanctions on them.
yeah.
But we want to help the ones that are trying to also flee the Ukraine. And I know for the past few weeks, people have said that the UK needs to do more to accept those that are fleeing from Russia. I know that they have also said that those that have family members here in the UK and that are settled can have their family, whether it's their husband, wife, child,
Mm,
sister, brother, um, or any adult dependent relative, can come and join their family here in the UK. And I believe that they said over 23,000 Ukrainians live here in the UK and are settled. And so they are expecting that more family members will come and join them. But for those that don't have family members here in the UK, the whole point is that they will be able to um, offload the other European countries who are not able to take on so many people to be
Mm,
able to also come here and work.
mm,
I know that, of course, there are people who have tried to make applications through the online application system for coming here on refugee basis. I know the government also wants to introduce something called a local sponsorship
mm,
scheme, but that hasn't started yet. They haven't really given what the eligibility requirements are. So it's very difficult for people to even know how to apply to this local community scheme. Um, of course, we're also thinking about the fact that there are foreigners living in Russia, and it's not just the Ukrainians. So, if the policy is to do with just Ukrainians, then how about those that are non-Ukrainians and are living in Ukraine for a period of time? The UK government has not put anything in place as such, but we know that there are neighboring countries such as Poland and Romania and Slovakia and Hungary who may be able to take on some of these people because they can understand their plight. And so, as much as possible, the embassies or the high commissions in those countries can allow for those foreigners to be there for a while. Um, we're just hoping and praying that in some way the West can intervene to
mm,
obviously not let things escalate, but to make sure that lives are protected and people are being looked after. We
mm,
are also praying that there will be some sort of resolve sooner rather than later. But we are hoping and praying that there will be a solution that can be put in place as the Ukrainian president, Mr. Zelensky, is always calling out to the NATO countries to come together to bring some sort of resolve. So let's hope and pray that something can be done soon.
mm, mm. And I think those trying to join the families in the UK are not happy with the Home Office because even the helpline, listening to the news, it gets to a point when you call, you get a voice message at the end saying, we can't help you at this time.
Mm, mm, mm.
I'm
I think the
thinking,
government has seen that the helpline is now overwhelmed, and
exactly,
so
exactly.
I believe that their hope is that they can increase the support team within the visa centers in each country so that they can take more of those calls. At the
Right.
moment, I know the Home Secretary Priti Patel knows that they are quite overwhelmed, and
Yes.
even though thousands of people have applied, still applications have not been decided. And so I know that she's even announced this week that if you have a Ukrainian passport and your family member lives in the UK, you can come to the borders. So you don't have to go and take a biometric
Okay.
what do you call it, appointment. So you don't need to
Mm,
take your biometric
mm,
and have your fingerprints taken
mm, mm.
before your application is decided. You can be rest assured that it will be decided for you to come through. But then how about those people who don't have
Have
passports?
Ukrainian passports.
Yes, and that will be another issue because a lot more people are making the applications and they are saying
Mm,
that they're trying to increase the appointments and the support staff so that they can cope as well. So let's
okay.
see how this takes place from the 15th of March and
Yeah, fingers
hopefully,
crossed. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
hopefully it will get better. Yeah.
Right, Lawyer Eunice. I mean, a lot of people are taking today's topic very personal. because it's very common. Uh, a lot of people who are, once married or were living together when they are
Mm,
separate ways, but had children or a child, and in the end, you could see there's this issue of the other party not allowing the other parent to see the child.
mm,
I even witnessed an instance where a parent, even, I mean, the father kidnapped the child back to Africa because when he had just one opportunity, chance to see the child, he decided, I've had enough. I will take the child away.
mm,
So, I mean, this topic, you've done so well to bring this topic, on for today's program. Um, I want to also find out from you,
mm,
why today this topic, because I was shocked, and the feedback I was getting, you could see people had experienced this,
mm,
you know,
mm.
for a very
Yeah.
long time and
I,
had no
I
idea how to go
yeah.
about.
I think, like you're saying, this is something that is common. It's not something that is abstract to anybody, because you and I will know somebody who is going through this, or we will have people who have spoken to us because they are going through it. And I think that because a lot of people are obviously going through it, and I am also working on cases like it makes it more relevant at this time to even speak about it. Um, it's one of those issues where I believe that because it's so sensitive sometimes,
Yeah,
um, if you are not speaking to the right people about it, you may be doing yourself more harm than good, because sometimes people feel that if I'm not getting on with this person, there's this saying "Jai Manenka," like I will not
yeah,
do anything
yeah. Leave
to
it. Yeah,
make things worse. So I would rather leave everything and then let everything go. But if you have the right advice and you are able to do what is necessary and right by the child or the children, then at the end of the day, you realize that you have put value into that child. That child recognizes that input that you've made into their life. And then you never know, in the end, who will end up supporting you in terms of your physical needs or your financial needs and the rest of it. And I think that as um, children, because I grew up in a home where I had both parents, and
mm,
you realize the input of both parents, and there are certain things I can speak to my father about that I will not necessarily go to my mom, and there are certain things I will easily speak to my mother about, and I will not have any hesitations whatsoever going to um, my dad. So I think that it's important that as man and woman, that we also realize what we were able to get growing up. And if you didn't have it, because I know people that didn't have that upbringing with both parents and
yeah,
desire that for
yeah.
their children, because they know what it felt like to go through that, and they do not want that to happen to their children. And I believe that if we realize how much our children need our input, then we will make the effort to
Okay,
reconcile our differences. Yeah.
okay. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you just join us, you're welcome to hanging out with BWF Solicitors. BWF Solicitors is one of the best law firms in London. They've won so many awards. They specialize in immigration and nationality, Ghana law and practice, family law, dispute resolution. If you have any issues with what I've mentioned as their specialities, look no further. Contact BWF Solicitors, and their number is 0208 493 7340. Lawyer Eunice will leave their details at the end of the program. Today's program is how to have direct access to your child when you and the other parent don't get on. And with me today is lawyer Eunice Champong. a seasoned solicitor and also a partner at BWF Solicitors. If you want to contribute to the program, you can do so by sending us your questions and comments. I will also want to hear from you if you've had any experience in this situation and how you were able to come out of it or have it resolved. We would love to hear from you. On our Facebook page, YouTube. If you prefer to call me live in the studio, of course, you can do so on 0744 8619 711. You can also WhatsApp me and I'll be able to put your questions forward to Lawyer Eunice. Lawyer Eunice, can the parent who does not see the children immediately take the matter to court?
So when it comes to these issues, I always say that even the court wants you to resolve it informally, um,
Mm-hmm.
because they know that when people don't get on, things are likely to get messy. The process is likely to take longer, and things may come up that the other person may not necessarily expect or um, also make matters worse. So
Mm-hmm.
they would, of course, want things to be resolved informally through mediation, and they call it the mediation and information and assessment meeting. So what happens is that a family mediator, if you were living in a locality like Croydon, there are family mediators available. So if you just Google mediators in Croydon, you will have a whole list of mediators or people that will be able to help with that mediation and information and assessment meeting. So what that does is that they try and speak to both parties, either separately or jointly, to come to some sort of agreement as to how the children will have both parents in their lives. So if the other parent is, let's say, working 24/7, then of course you don't have time to see the children. But if
Yeah.
you are saying to them that, well, I want to make time for the children, and so on the weekends I would like to have them, whereas the other parent can have them during the weekdays. And if the other parent is willing that that happens, then they will go ahead with it. But most likely than not, because there is always that, should I say, circumstance between both parents, it's unfortunate that they don't see the need of the child, but they see what has gone on between the two of them, and then they then um, make that part of their decision making. So they prevent the other parent from having that access or contact with the child. And so
Mm.
most of the time, when mediators are meant to be helping these couples come to an agreement, it becomes quite difficult, especially within our community. I know that within the Caucasian community, it's better because they tend to even get on even when they've broken up. And so it's much easier. But I feel that within our ethnic community, it's quite difficult for us to be level headed and to actually say that let's do this for the children. And so a lot of the time, um, going through mediation can be quite difficult. And once both parties or one party has decided they will not be able to go through the mediation process, then the mediator has to sign a C100 form to say
Mm.
that unfortunately mediation did not work in this case, and they would prefer that the court will now handle matters. So they would then sign that C100 form, which that applicant will use when they are making their application to the court for a
Mm.
child arrangement order to get access to the child.
Okay. Laura Eunice, can the church get involved as well?
I know people within our community always involve the
That's
church.
the first place they will go.
Yes. So they will involve elderly people, they will involve the church, they will go to the mosque, involve the imam, and they see as a way of having some neutral person um, be part of the process. I mean, by law, you have to try the family mediators first of all. Otherwise, if you are saying that the church or other um, neutral people should obviously judge on the matter, try it and see if it works. If it works and the other party is able to agree to you seeing the child or seeing the children at certain times, then that's good, because then you don't have to go through a whole court process. But
Mm.
if, of course, after a time they are now ignoring the church leaders, they are ignoring the community leaders, and they do not see eye to eye with you, that is when it feels as if you need to go even further, because there are cases that I've dealt with where the church leaders were able to convince the other parent to go ahead and then let that parent see their child. That worked for a year or two. After that, um, the other party moved away, and that was it. And so once
Right.
the other party moves away, that means that all contact is lost, because
Oh,
now they're not attending that church. You don't know where they are, and you don't have access to the child whatsoever. And I think that it's one of those areas where I think a lot of parents who are loggerheads with the other parent, they just don't care. And so they are just trying to tell you, I don't care about what you have to say or what you have to bring to the child. I want the child to myself. And if they are in another relationship, then that's it. You don't have any access whatsoever. And it shouldn't be like that. Yeah.
all right. Okay. Right. So, Laura Eunice, does what does it mean to seek a child arrangement order? Is there a form for that?
Yes. So when you are saying that you want to now apply to the court for a child arrangement order, this is under our Children's Act. So under the Children's Act of 1989, where you are saying to the court that you want the court to um, come to an agreement as to whether you can have direct access to your child.
Mm.
And in some cases, they would have to know whether you have parental responsibility. So, where you are married to the other parent and there has been a separation or there has been a divorce, it is very, shall I say, relatively easily to know that this parent or that parent is the child's father. But there
Mm.
are cases where the couple may not have married, and it may not be clear as to whether the father is the father of that child. Um, as of 2003, when the Children and Adoption Act was created, that enforced that even if the couples were not married, their father, who is the father of the child, could still have parental responsibility for that child. Where the father is not on the, let's say, the birth certificate, for instance, then it will be that the father will have to have some sort of DNA test done for them to now go ahead and say that, okay, as it is the case, you are the biological father. The court will then have to give that father or parent a parental responsibility in addition to the child arrangement order that they are seeking. So usually you will seek for both if you were not on the birth certificate. But in most cases, if it is just having access to the child or to the children, you are saying to the court that you want to have that access. You would tell the court how you would want access to them. Is it every week, every weekend, every holiday? I want to have access to them. And then in some cases, like you mentioned, the other parent will want to take the other child away for you to never see that child again. And so within that Form C100, you have prohibited steps orders or specific issue order,
mm,
where you're saying to the court that I would not want the other parent to take this child away from the UK permanently,
mm,
or I would like for the other parent to always let me know when she's taking this child out of the UK for holidays, for instance. So you are telling the court that you do not want this child to be taken away, or you want the child to I mean the other parent to obviously seek your consent when they are taking this child away and the rest of it. And it is a criminal offense under our Child Abduction Act for a parent to take a child who is under the age of 16 to another country without the other parent's consent. So that in the first instance is a criminal act. So if the other parent were to take a child outside of the UK and did not inform the father or the mother that they were taking them away, that in itself is a criminal offense, and that of course can be reported to the police
mm,
as soon as possible. But in relation to the child arrangement order, that can also be put in there for the court to also decide. So usually in this case, we are saying that you want the court to make a decision as to who the child will reside with and live with, usually up to the age of 16. In some cases, it may be up to the age of 18. Yeah.
mm, mm. Now, talking about, as you mentioned, where the child resides, if the other party doesn't have the current address or details of the parent who resides with the child,
Mm,
how does he or she go about it? Do they have a right to
mm.
know the details and address of where the child resides?
So in cases like this, it's almost as if you don't know a mutual friend, or you don't know somebody who knows where the other parent lives, then it's
Okay.
almost impossible for you to have that contact unless they are telling you they will call you and meet you
Yeah.
at a
At the
certain
park,
location.
at the
Yes,
park,
at
or
the
probably at the restaurant.
yes. So if they are telling you they'll meet you at a restaurant or they will meet you at a park, that's fair enough. But where they are not giving you any information whatsoever, they've changed their address, they've changed their telephone number, you can't reach them by email, you
Yeah.
can't reach them by social media because they've blocked you, then it means that they are preventing you from having any contact whatsoever.
Mm,
And that becomes difficult. But thank goodness that if you are applying to the court, they will be able to look for this person's location. So they tell you to fill a C4 form, and
mm,
that will state where the last known address of the other parent was. So if you know the last known address, if you know the telephone number that they previously used, their email,
mm,
you put
mm,
all of that on the form, and then the court, as much as possible, will try and locate where this other parent is. Because as you all know, children who are under the age of 16 should be in school. So every local authority has the details of every child within um, their locality. So once you've given the child's name, the child's date of birth, and the parent's name, even if it's not the full name, you have the date of birth, you have the last known address, if you have their previous telephone number or other contact detail, and you put it on the form, they will locate where the parent is. And so once they've located the parent, what happens is that the Kafka's officer, who is the officer that usually makes an assessment on both parent and the child to give a report to the court, will now have access to that information. They wouldn't necessarily give it to you, the other parent, but because they now have access to that information, they will be able to carry out their
mm,
duties in regards to this process. And I think what is helpful about the court proceedings is that once an assessment has been carried out, the court is then informed as to how to make their decisions in regards to a parent who is making an application for this child arrangement order. Yeah.
Okay. Now, talking about the child's school, in most
Mm,
cases, I think I've also witnessed one as well. I had a gentleman who approached me, I think through a friend,
mm,
and when he realized my daughter was in the same school with his daughter,
mm,
um, he wanted my daughter to pass on information on how her daughter was doing at school. The reason is he was denied access to the child's school, at least to visit,
mm.
probably, have a meeting with the teacher to know the progress of the child's, schoolwork. But
Yes.
apparently, the guy told me that the mom had given strict instructions not to allow the gentleman to visit his daughter at the school. Is that right?
So a mother will give these instructions to the school, but I would say that the school also has a duty to find out why that is so. So
Mm,
apart from the mother saying that the father should not be allowed access to the children, blah blah blah, we know that most schools also have a duty to report such things to the local authority, to the social
mm,
services. And if, I mean, there has been issues of domestic violence, they will want to find out from social services if they can contact the police to find out if anything of that sort has been going on. More often than not, if a child is questioned, so the parent has come to say this, and they want to find out more, and they speak to the child, and the child is saying, yes, it's true, what this parent is saying is very true. And in most cases, like I said, it's children who are up to the age of 16. So all these children who are under the age of 16, they are under, should I say, the care and duty of the school. And so once something has been said by that child, they also would want to keep that child safe. And
mm,
should I say, when you look at schools, they always have this policy on safeguarding, and the fact that you want to keep the children from risk of harm, and so they will want to protect that child, and they would also want a third party to be involved in the process to make sure that this child is kept safe from harm. And if that is the case, they will go on and report to the social services, who can take up the matter further, because they can't
mm,
go into the home and do all of the assessment, like I'm saying. So if the social services were to be involved, they would then um, see the truth of what this other parent is saying, because they can then go into more details. They can look into police reports, they can look into previous behaviors if it has been reported as such, and all of the rest of it. So the school, on the other hand, has its part to play in um, things like this. Otherwise, it will always be what the one parent says. And I believe that if we are always going by what the one parent says and we are not
mm,
looking to the other side, then we are being biased, and the school has to um, look into it more carefully rather than not. And once the child is 16, of course, they can make their own decisions and decide whether they want to talk to their dad, whether they want to go and visit their dad, whether they want to stay with their dad. So
mm,
um, that is also another thing that the parent can look into, because it's very difficult. And if the parent themselves, who is not seeing the child, doesn't take steps so that they can have access to the child, and
mm,
they cannot even see the child, then it makes it the more difficult, because then It is what the mother has said against him that is going to obviously filter through to the school and to that child as well.
Mm. Oh, okay. All right. Because a lot of the men think that probably it's a form of punishment.
Oh no, they shouldn't
Mm.
accept it. I think that
Mhm.
a lot of them do accept it. I think that if you're looking at it from the perspective of this is how things ended with the other party, then you will not move forward. But if you're looking at it from the perspective of this child is my blood, I
Yeah,
want to have
yeah.
this child in my life. I want to have an input in this child's life. I don't want this child to look at me and think that
Mm.
I didn't do much to obviously involve myself in that child's life. If you're looking at it from that perspective, then you will take steps to make sure that you have access to this child. Um, a lot of the time, we think that they are children and they don't take things in, but it will shock you how much a child will take things on. And if they know that this parent was once a part of my life and then decided to not be a part of my
Yeah,
life
yeah,
anymore,
yeah.
they will hold on to that grudge for a
Mm.
very, very
Long
long time.
time. Yeah.
And that does not help. It
Oh, yeah.
doesn't. It doesn't.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Um, Kofi is saying, how likely is it that the court will grant the order? I mean, order based on the contact arrangement he's proposed.
In most cases, I say that the court has a duty. So when you look at our Children's Act of 1989, for instance, under Section 1, the court has its factors that it considers, and it considers the fact that, for instance, a child who, let's say, is a 5-year-old child, and a father has made an application to the court so that he will have access to this child. The child is obviously somebody who may have built some emotional attachment to this father. So they look at the emotional side of things. They also look at the fact that the child may also have some educational needs as well. So if
Mm,
this child has physical and emotional needs,
mm,
and they also have educational needs, how best is this child going to have those needs met? Is it with the mother who may have some part time work and is always at home? Or is it with the father who is always working and only has weekends available? They are going to look at how best these needs can be met. Maybe the father works and so he can provide for the physical needs. So there are certain fathers who will provide child maintenance or even give money to the other parents without child maintenance getting
yeah,
involved.
yeah.
And there are those who don't mind, that live close by, who will take the child to school, pick the child up as well. And if the child is so close with both parents, then the court is likely to think, well, it makes sense that both parents do have contact with this child, and that child is seen to have both parents involved in their lives. The court
Mm,
also considers the child's age, it will consider the child's sex, it will consider, when I say the child sex is male or female,
yeah.
it will also consider the child's background as well. So if the child has never lived with the father before, but has always known that the father will come and visit, and it's a girl, for instance, and the girl is only 5 years old, it may be that the girl has never lived with her father, so they would not give like a live with arrangement to the father because that has never happened before. And so the girl is used to living with her mom, and then the dad comes in and out. Or you could have a situation where the girl lived with both parents for a period of time, let's say up to the age of 4, and then they broke up, and now she's 5, and she's used to both parents, and now they are thinking, how is it possible that both parents can also be involved in this child's life? It may be that because the child lives closer to the school, and maybe she lives with her mom, it might be the case that it will be easier for her to live with her mother during school days, and then weekends spend that with her dad. When it comes to children who are 12 and above, it's much easier for the courts or for the Kafka's officer to take on board their opinions. So if they say, well, I would like to see dad more often, or I'd like for dad to have me over the weekends, that will be put in the report, because what the child says also has an effect on the report. So sometimes it may be that because the child is older, they can make their own opinions, and the judge will have to consider that. And if the case is that the background is both parents have been resided with the child, the court will also look at that. It may also be the case that maybe both parents have had domestic abuse, and so um, it has affected the children either physically or emotionally. And so the court is supposed to consider how likely that this child will be at risk of harm. And so if both parents have had issues to do with domestic violence, for instance, then the court is going to say, I know that there is past incidents of domestic violence within the family setting. If there has been cases where the children have also experienced domestic violence, it may not necessarily be the case that they will not allow that parent access whatsoever, but they will consider how long ago, they'll consider what the circumstances are, and if it has been some sort of physical abuse, for instance, and how damaging it was, that can be considered by the court to then decide whether they should have that direct access, or it should be limited to indirect access. And then when it comes to how capable the parents are of obviously taking care of this child, if you are working and you are saying to the court that, yes, I'm working, I can obviously care for this child's needs, they will take that into consideration. If you're not working, if you don't even have a place to live, how then can you ask the court for um, the reside with or live with access? Because you as a person don't have a permanent place to stay, you are not working, your circumstances are such that it becomes very difficult for the court to give you that order, especially because your circumstances are showing that you may not be capable of taking care of this child if they were to let you take on the child on a permanent basis. So I think that those are some of the factors the court will consider, including the circumstances of the parents as well. And that helps them to decide whether what you're requesting for is something that they can give to you, or they can give you something which is similar to what you're requesting, but not exactly as you have requested. So let's say you have requested for living with the child, and you don't have a place to actually stay permanently, and you're not working. You have to consider the fact that the court is going to look at your circumstances to decide what is the better position to put the children in. So there are a number of factors and other things that the court will have to consider when making their decision.
Okay. All right. Whoa. Kwesi says, I'm currently going through court proceedings so I can see my children. However, the mother of the 3 children do not attend hearings. And the court is warning in the court order that an order can be made against her. What can be done if the other parent still does not comply with the order?
Do you know what? This happens quite a lot because what happens is that, let's say the other parent is so annoyed that
Yes.
the parent has had the audacity to go to the court
What?
for a
Yeah.
child arrangement order, and they are thinking, what will make you even take this matter to court? And they forget that it's because they are so unwilling to come to a compromise. And because they are so unwilling to come to a compromise, the other person has to go further before they
Yeah.
realize that they actually want that child in their life. And so when this happens, a lot of the time, either that the parent who resides with the child doesn't turn up, or
Yeah.
what happens is that sometimes even when the Kafka's officer phones them, they don't pick, they don't arrange for interview, because the whole point is for the Kafka's officer to give a recommendation to the court. So if the Kafka's officer is phoning you, is calling you, is trying
Mm.
to arrange for some time with you because they want to interview you and the child, and you are not giving them that access, then it becomes so difficult.
Like, Eunice, what are the implications? Because if you decide not to show up in court or not
Mm,
acknowledge maybe
mm,
the reason for your absence, you've
yeah,
disrespected the court and the law.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know, for someone to have that gas to say, I'm not showing up, I'm not even going to
It
give
happens a
the.
lot, actually.
So does that mean people go free with that?
So
You
what
can
happens is
I'm
that,
not showing up. What are they going to do to me? Are they going to arrest me or what?
so
They might
some
be
people don't think
arrested.
it's that serious, so they don't turn up. And what happens is that because the court has a way of knowing your whereabouts, and they know that you have received a copy of the order, they always put a warning notice within it, because the court has that power under Section 11 of the Children's Act to say to you that,
Mm,
of course, if you're not complying with A, B, and C, then we will have to hold you in contempt of court. Because if
yes.
they have sent you an order, they know that you've received that order, and you have received it, let's say twice, three times, they've told you to come to court, and you have intentionally or purposefully decided you are not attending because you don't even want this man near you, left alone near your child or children. So you will not attend. That, like you said, is disrespecting the court, because now it's not the man dealing with you directly, it
Mhm.
is the court dealing with you. So
Yeah.
you can't not show up, or you cannot say that you will not allow the Kafka's officer or the social worker to carry out their duties. You have to comply with the court order. And they know that some parents can be that difficult, and that's why
Mm.
they have given the courts these powers to be able to deal with these issues. And I remember there was one particular court order that says that if the lady didn't turn up and she was held to be in contempt of court, she will be arrested, because to be in contempt of a court order is an arrestable offense. And so I think at one point when she saw it, she decided to turn. So it does happen where some people take it for granted. There are some who allow you access. So even before you've taken the matter to court, they will allow you some access. Maybe you are applying for the order because you want more access than you already have.
Mm.
And the person is thinking, well, I already give you some a kind of access, and the social services will get involved. They will allow social services to be involved, but they don't see why they should also turn up to court, because they think, I've given you some sort of access anyway, so you should be okay with what I'm giving to you. But if it is the case that you are not turning up to court, the court can also eventually make an order in your absence, because they think that you are not taking it seriously enough. And so if you go on and say you are not going to attend, they will have to consider all the other factors that I mentioned, and they
Mm,
will make some sort of order in your absence. And there
mm,
are some cases where even the order has been given for you, the parent who didn't have access to now see the child and the rest of it. And the other parent will be so adamant and they will not allow the other parent to see the child, even when the child arrangement order has been put in place. And if that is the case, then the other parent can go on and say to the court
mm,
that they want to apply for the court to monitor this other parent because they are not allowing them access and it's becoming unbearable. And if you have an extreme case where the other parent is just not giving access to the parent whatsoever after the order has been made, then there are cases where the court will say, because you are not complying with the order, you haven't given any reasonable reasons why you are not complying with the order, then you will have to do some unpaid work, and that maybe will put you into the spirit of not disrespecting a court
mm,
order.
mm,
So
mm.
the court have a number of powers under the Children's Act which they can use if the other parent is being very unreasonable.
Mm, mm. Okay, right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've just tuned in, and this is Hanging Out with BWF Solicitors, and today's topic was how to have direct access to your child when the other parent, you and the other parent do not get on. With me is lawyer Eunice Champong. We've got just few minutes to round up this show, but I'll quickly um, before I read my last question, what I want to tell viewers and all those watching is what is being discussed today or on this program is for information purposes. Do not make any final decisions based on what has been discussed on the show. I will advise you seek professional advice. BWF solicitors are there for you. Laura Eunice will leave her details at the end of the program, and you can contact her and discuss with her your. It might be similar to what we are discussing, but our advice, you speak to lawyer Eunice for her to advise, guide you through the process. Right. Um, this person that wants to remain anonymous says, I'm currently going through mediation, and the other parent has not is not willing to go through the process. The mediator is going to sign me off so that I can apply to the court. Can I use the order to be granted for my immigration application as I do not have leave to be in the UK?
So in
Laura, you know,
applying
yeah. Okay, go on. Yeah.
in applying for a child arrangement order, what
Mm-hmm.
usually happens is that most parents who do not have immigration status may want to rely on that order to say that because they have direct access to that child, that
Mm-hmm.
shows that they have parental responsibility and therefore they should be granted leave to remain in the UK because of that child. Now, it's very important to also realize that the court knows that this does happen, but you should not, in any circumstance whatsoever, in seeking to have that child arrangement order, say to the court that you are seeking for a child arrangement order because you want to regularize your stay in the UK. A family matter where you are saying that you want to be involved in the child's life should
Mm-hmm.
not be a means for which you are just taking advantage. Then it means that you don't really want to be involved in this child's life, but you are just using that as a means to regularize your stay in the UK. And that shouldn't be the case. You should want and genuinely desire to be in that child's life for the right reasons. So one of the things that has made the court, should I say, very skeptical about these things is that a lot of people would come to the court to get this child arrangement order and then use it for their applications. And I
Patience.
think, yes, by 2019, there was a case law that arose where they said that when it comes to family procedures, it is for the applicant to request or ask for the family court to allow it to disclose the order, if they are to disclose it in any situation whatsoever. So if you are going to disclose the order to an immigration caseworker, or you're taking the order to disclose to any third party, then you will have to seek for the court's permission for the order to be disclosed. So you can't just give that order to any third party for another use when you haven't asked for the court's permission. So it is necessary that you ask for the court's permission if you are to disclose the order to a third party for a different use. And so even with immigration cases, if you are going to use that order as a means to show that you have access to that child because maybe the other parent is not willing to write a letter to say that you are supporting the child in this way or that way, then you have to seek for the court to grant permission for you to go ahead and use that order for your immigration
Okay.
case. So, yes, when it comes to making an application, yes, you can use the order, but you have to seek the permission of the court first. And under no circumstances should you seek for a child arrangement order for just immigration purposes. I think the courts will be harsh and they will be strong handed on that applicant. So you would want to show that you are interested in the child's welfare, and that is why you are coming to the court
Right.
for a child
Okay.
arrangement order.
Okay. I'll just take this last caller and we'll round up the show quickly. Hello, caller. You are welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Amma and I'm calling from London.
Okay. Amma, your question for Lawyer Eunice.
Yeah, please. I was a victim of COVID-19, and ever since my ex-partner hasn't been, he doesn't take care of the child, and he doesn't know where we are at. But I want to ask, I want to go on my 3-year-old.
Okay.
Is it advisable for me to seek his consent? Because the reason why I'm asking is maybe when we are on holidays, he might just feel that I'm running away with the child or something, and I don't want that to happen. So is it advisable for me to seek his consent that we are going on a 3-week holiday?
Lawyer Eunice, did you get the question?
I was hearing bits and pieces. So is she saying that the child's father does not play any role in the child's life, and
Yeah, that
she's
is what I'm here.
Yes, he doesn't.
okay,
That
and
does not go on holiday, so I'm just asking if we need to seek his consent before going on a
On a holiday. So
okay,
that then he cannot, so for him not to report that,
okay,
she's absconding with the children.
with the children. Okay, so in cases like this, he can just sign a letter of
Oh, with the
consent.
child. Okay.
Yeah. So you're going on holiday maybe for the summer, and you are saying to him, "Mepɛ sɛ me ne esi ne Irama, let's say Ghana," and then you're saying, "Just sign this letter of consent that I'm taking the children away." Sometimes he may give you, yes, I don't want to sign anything, but you can take them.
Yes.
So if that's the case, then of course you can have that recorded to say that he agreed for you to take the child or the children on holiday. So as long as he's agreed to it, then that's fine.
But what if he doesn't?
Yeah,
So if he doesn't agree to it, that's where you have a problem, because then the let's say for instance, if the children have British passport and they are saying to you that you have to go and get a visa, and then you get
Eunice, she wants to clarify something.
Yeah. So this is the case where the dad refused to apply for a British passport for her, but because we were under we were in the refuge, I was able to apply for a Ghanaian passport, and it was for her. So he doesn't know about it. So that is why I wanted to know if it's really advisable, because his answer would be no.
You see?
Yeah, his answer would be no. So that is why I'm just asking whether it is advisable, because I need this holiday for my mental health.
Okay.
Yeah, for both of us.
Okay. I mean, you are still going on holiday. So if for one reason or the other you don't come back, the local authority will even chase you before
no, Lawyer Eunice. Yeah, Lawyer Eunice is not implying you will not come back, but you have to think outside the box. You are not planning to do that because you've established yourself with your child in this country. But it's an assumption. What if he claims, she's not going to come back? That's what your Lawyer Eunice is trying to clarify.
So, in terms of you going away, if the child has a Ghanaian passport and you're saying that she can travel with you, then of course you can go on holiday and then come back as usual. And then when you come back, you tell him that you are back, and he'll be sound-minded. I mean, he's not playing a role in the child's life in the first place, so I don't think that the child going away for 2 weeks or 3 weeks should be much of an issue for him. You are the one who is caring for this child solely. So if you go away for that holiday, I don't think it should cause any issues whatsoever. And like I said, local authorities, they also have in mind that a child who is under 16 should be in school. So if the child is not in school, the school will first chase you up, and then if they are not getting any results, then the local authority will be chasing you up.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For the clarification.
Oh, okay, thank you. And I hope when you come back, you come with a refreshed mind, body, and soul, isn't it?
I know. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care, Alma. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right. So, Lawyer Eunice, there you are.
Yes, I know.
She thought that if the father of the child does not approve, it might be an opportunity for him to report her as absconding with the children.
The child. Like you said, there are so many parents who have gone away with the children and they have not come back with those children. And that is because
everyone will do that.
No, not every woman will do that. So that is also for the other parent who is living with the child to realize that, do you know what, you can't just get up and do certain things without letting the other parent know. Maybe it might be that the other parent has not played a part in that child's life, like Mama is saying. The parent hasn't got a clue what the child needs. They have not contributed financially, they have not contributed emotionally. So you don't even understand why you need to seek their permission before taking that child. And there have been situations where that has been the case because the father hasn't taken any responsibility for that child. The other parent has said, well, you don't do anything in the child's life, so I'm going to take the child away and look after the child the best way I can. And most children will see that maybe the mom probably may have done them a disservice and they will want to look for where their father is. And that's the sad thing, because you may do the best that you can for this child, but at the back of this child's mind, they're thinking, yes, I know what you said about my father, but I still want to know who my father is. I still want to look for my father. And then they have this desire to always go and want to look for their father and know the whereabouts of their father and the rest of it. So in a way, you want that child to eventually get to know who their father is, just for that peace of mind, so that they don't get up one day, you look for them, they are not there, because they just want to know where.
But Lawyer Eunice, how can Amma cover her back? Let's say within that 2-3 week period,
Oh, you
father
will always tell the school.
decided,
Yeah,
okay,
you
father
definitely
decided
tell the school.
to get in touch with the mother. I want to visit the child, but trying to contact her because she's traveled, can't get through or speak to her. So
Mm,
within that period of time, because she already knows the answer that the child's father is going to give her.
yeah.
So what if within that 2-3 weeks period, the child's father decided to get in touch, to check up on the child or probably arrange a visit or something like that, and it's not able to get through, probably because the mother and child are abroad. Can he report that he doesn't know the whereabouts of this mother and child?
So, for instance, if the school is on holiday and you are going away
Mm,
for that holiday period, and you are saying, well, the child and I need to go away, you
yeah.
can send a message. If he doesn't necessarily come back with an agreement, at least
Okay.
you have
Okay.
sent him a
Okay.
message to know that
Okay.
you are
Okay.
going away with
Mm,
that child for that 2 week period, and
mm,
that's obviously accepted.
okay.
Where it may not be acceptable is when you have taken the child away and you are not intending to bring this child back. That's
Mm,
when the issue arises, because some
mm,
people will go away and then come back alone, and they say, oh, I've left the child with my mother, or I've left the
exactly.
child with this
Exactly.
person.
Exactly.
That's where the issue arises. And then, of course, if
Mm,
that were to happen, then the other parent is going to want to bring a case against this parent who has always resided with the child.
mm,
But if you're
mm,
going away for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you'll be back, just inform him over the phone, send
yeah.
him a message, just let him know you're going away for 2 weeks and you'll be back on so
Mm.
so and so date. I
At
mean,
least it's on record that
yeah,
communication took place. You informed him.
yeah.
So probably if 3 weeks to a month's time, and
Mm,
then she's not back, then he can raise some concerns.
friends,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. On that note, the show has to come to an end. Thank you so much for all of you who stayed, with us through the program. We really appreciate it. Those who sent in their questions, thank you, making the show so interesting as usual. Also those who called us, especially Amma. I wish her all the best, and I
Yeah.
hope that things, get resolved soon. Laura Eunice, just a brief summarization of what we discussed so far.
Okay, so we've just been talking about parents who would like access, direct access to their children, who may not necessarily have come off on good terms with the other parent, but they want to be involved in their children's lives. They want to be responsible for their children, and therefore, they want a way of a means by which they can have that direct access.
Mm,
And I
mm,
think that parents are doing a wonderful job. And at the end of the day, it is the child that matters. We are looking out for that child's best interest. As much as people may wrong us, we also have to look at how best the child will progress and develop having both parents in their lives. And so, yes, as we say every week, we don't just deal with issues just as we have discussed. If there are other issues that you would want to discuss with us or you would need advice on, please do contact us. Um, I am one of the solicitors at BWS Solicitors. We are located in London. Our address is the fourth floor of Anna House, 214 to 218 Tottenham High Road, London, and the postcode is N154NP. We open our offices from Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Our office number is 0208 493 7340. So 0208 493 7340. And my personal number, our office hours is 075 35 813910. Thank
Thank
you so
you very
much.
much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So on that note, I can't thank you all enough. Laura Eunice, thank you so much, for your dedication, taking time off to be with us every Saturday at 1 p.m. Everyone watching us, please share this program. I believe someone might have missed today's program for other reasons. We have a recorded version on our YouTube page. So you can go there at BWF Solicitors and sit back, relax, and you can, enjoy what was discussed on today's show. Whilst watching it, if there's anything that you are not clear with, and you need answers to, Lawyer Eunice is here. She's left her details. Make sure you contact Lawyer Eunice and her team at BWF Solicitors, and they'll be very happy to help. Until then, take good care of yourselves, and hopefully see you same time next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Based in London, we are a dynamic award-winning firm specializing in a range of legal services, including family law, matrimonial law, immigration, dispute resolution, Ghanaian customary and family law. At BWF, our solicitors are pleased to offer high-quality legal representation at competitive rates. Our senior partner, Bernardo Wusu, has over 29 years' experience as a lawyer in the UK. BWF solicitors provide independent and practical legal assistance for all kinds of family matters, such as childcare, contested and uncontested divorce, and injunctions for domestic violence. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you in this difficult time, which is why we offer confidential advice delivered in a sensitive manner. Our senior partner is an accredited member of the Law Society Family Law Accreditation Panel, which guarantees expert representation in all family and matrimonial cases. Are you seeking advice on immigration-related matters? At BWF Solicitors, our immigration team are experts in dealing with everything from general immigration to complex immigration work permits, arranging student visas, as well as entry clearance visas, family visas, and appeals. Our senior partner is an accredited member of the Law Society Immigration Accreditation Panel, which guarantees expert representation. Our office is open from 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, and on Saturdays by appointment only from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We are located at 4th floor Anna House, 214 to 218 Tottenham High Road, London, N15 4NP, just a short walk from Seven Sisters Underground. Our senior partner, Bernardo Wusu, is also a qualified barrister and a member of the Ghana Bar Association. He has acted as an expert in court cases involving aspects of Ghanaian law. He has also advised local authorities, the official solicitor's office, and other solicitors on the intricacies of Ghanaian law, and is a regular contributor on the radio and TV on matters concerning Ghanaian